Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome. You're probably used to seeing a little intro video with all the fun graphics and stuff, but this week we're going in a little bit raw to begin with because yeah, I had some technical issues and I wasn't able to get the software to work properly to actually let me make the intro video. I made about a third of it, as I said to Playmaker, but yeah, it wouldn't work. And then as well, just adding to the technical difficulties, YouTube has added this little heart up in the chat here, and I don't know how to get rid of that. I've been trying since I turned on OBS this morning to get rid of that little heart, but I just cannot figure out a way to do that. It's like a reaction to the most recent something. I don't even know. Anyways, today we have Playmaker. Welcome, Playmaker.
Hi. Welcome. Thank you for bringing me here. So,
Thanks for coming.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
do I have to say
yeah. I
Playmaker
don't.
6174 or can I just call you Playmaker?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, it's the most infamous question. I just say Playmaker. I think that would be like,
Right.
it would even test your thought in like 5 minutes straight. Like you could say Playmaker 6174 solved is so good. As Playmaker 6174 is the great solver that people are known all over the world. Now this is twisting my tongue already. Not to mention yours. Just,
So,
just 5 minutes.
so let's go straight into the question, I guess, from Garlic Bread Fries, which is why Playmaker 6174? Like, what is 6174?
Ah, uh, oh my God, that's such a funny question. I mean, 6174, 6174 is actually my one of my favorite numbers in mathematics.
Okay.
Like, it's pretty much it's this famous constraint, like constant, like say constant. Like the famous mathematical constant, like if you take this four-digit number, take any four-digit number, exclude any four-digit number that be the same, like for example, and you rearrange them so that all the digit, all the digits are going in the ascending way, which is forming a four-digit number, and descending way, which is forming another four-digit number. And so you
Okay.
take a difference between uh, the one with this descending order and then ascending order because descending is always bigger than that.
hmm
And so you got this new number, this new four-digit number, and you keep repeating the process until you reach this one number. Like this one number is actually so funny, like 6174. And you do this, you keep doing this with 6174. We will repeat it itself all the time. And what I love about that is, yeah, I think not much. I mean, this is a it's just funny. It's just funny coincidence. Like if I take like for example, if I take this 10,000, like number 10,000, take a smallest five-digit number like 10,000, and then divide it by 6174, for example, you get this one number that's pretty much very close to golden ratio. I think this is just a coincidence. I think this is a coincidence, but
Hmm.
I feel like yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
it's not. It's funny. I think it's just funny. Like this one numbers just randomly appear like that. Like there's also a few number with like three digit, like six digit, five digit, right? I think five digit doesn't have, but I do think about six digit. There's for one with six digit, seven and eight. I don't know. Like pretty much above that. I don't really know, but I only care about 6174. I mean, it's just funny number to me. I mean, for all four digits in it are very special too. If you think about that deeper, six is a first perfect number. Right? One is the most unique number, for example. Seven is the luckiest number. And then
hmm
four, yeah, they have four. Digit four so funny. Like if you read four in like English alphabet, like let's say four like FOUR,
hmm
and it's also have four letters. And it is
Yeah.
the only number that actually satisfies that
True. Yeah.
properties, I think.
Yeah.
If you try to do with all numbers, if you actually converge to 4. Like everything will converge to 4. I think it has been proven. Like, I can't remember the source of the proof of that. Yeah, that's pretty much proven.
You might
So
think that
yeah,
there might be like a 20 something or a 10 something that would
yeah.
work, but
I don't think that will ever be one. Like it's a long. I remember it's a long proof. Quite a technical one because people like in that proof that's basically like brute forcing all over.
that's
And
not really proof,
everything
but
like I don't think it's exactly 100% true, but I mean it's like computer verified. Yeah, I can
right.
never accept that, to be honest. Yeah.
Uh, I should have said that we have our lovely patrons all around the edge of this screen here, and we have one new name right up here, Ratfinks, or Sarah, as we sometimes call her. Thank you, Sarah, for supporting us on Patreon. You can find the link to Patreon in the doobly-doo below the description. Hello, microstudy. Uh,
Oh my God. Oh,
so whereabouts
oh,
do you
where's
live? We didn't ask, we didn't answer half that question. Why Playmaker? What is that?
a playmaker? I think is pretty much a word that needs an expert in doing something like professional. That
Okay,
sports, for example, when people scoring well in sport and people doing a great performance in them, like they just call them basically playmaker. Like you can
right.
call you can call Lionel Messi, for example, a real playmaker in Barcelona or Barcelona. Like you can call it, yeah. It's pretty much a player who plays significant role in whole the entire sport world. I think they have the same meaning. It pretty much had the same meaning applied to everything else outside sports.
Yeah,
So that's basically being an expert at doing something professional. Even
a
there's some
player who
struggle at that.
who makes
Yeah,
plays when they're
yeah,
playing in a
yeah, yeah,
play.
yeah, yeah. Micro study come up with pretty much the best way possible. Players who make plays, basically.
Players who make plays. Uh,
Yeah, just just oh really better way to say outplay. Don't call them outplay.
right. So, whereabouts do you reside in the world?
Oh my God, this one great area with a rich history. But I live in Vietnam actually.
Yeah.
I actually live in Vietnam. That people keep telling me like maybe I live in Hong Kong, for example. I live in Singapore, so. But actually from Vietnam. I'm not really familiar with some like that many sectors are from Vietnam. Actually, I don't think T-Rex. I think besides T-Rex,
Hmm.
but
I
that's
didn't
only
know
one. That's only
T-Rex
one.
was from Vietnam. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah, I remember so. And I think Vietnam actually has a very cool, rich history. They have some great, great cultures. And
Hmm.
the more you study about it, the more you start to appreciate what, like, what things that only appears in Vietnam and none others will have. Like, basically, none others. Like, how much does Vietnam, like, how much has Vietnam, like, impact on the entire world history? They even have they even managed to have some was in Oxford. Oh my God! Like you can really do that straightforward. That's no really good way to explain how can they just do that. Like,
Yeah. So,
yeah,
what do you do in Vietnam? Like, do you do work or I think you're in school, right?
yeah. I'm still a uni student actually. I'm still a student in university. I study some economics, but I also study some more language,
Hmm.
which is related to like English or Russian, for example. Yeah, I know a little about, but I can't even say Russian right now because yeah, yeah, but that's a problem. there's so much problem going. But basically, what I love about learning other language is that
Hmm.
like basically they give me a sense of confidence. Like Like I actually just show me like I can do better things. I can try to show other people, like other people that I haven't even known like how about communication, for example. You have people like you don't want to talk about that. They don't know your foreign language, so the more you learn more about language, the more helpful, the more helpful,
Right.
the more better result that they will gain. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, yeah. I also study some more about mathematics, like the algebra mathematics. That relate to algebra, for example. I like figuring some stuff about algebra. Even it's not officially one of my things, but I still know something about like numbers and working with
Hmm.
other stuff related to numbers. This is so fun. They are so actually so fun to do
Clearly, I
without
mean, we
confusing
had that whole
us.
conversation about 6174.
Nah, the 674 is just a random number I put in when I try to make Discord. One of my favorite number, but that's really quite randomly as well. I've just put it in the like when I make Discord account. Okay, enter this enter this name so that it will have letters and numbers, and so on, so on, so on. Yeah, I just put them in there. I can just put 3.14. I just put Playmaker. I can even at one
Playmaker.
point actually at one point I was the Playmaker, but and I think I will pretty much violate every single mathematician in this. If I name myself that, I would pretty much violate every single one of them. Like I'm offended that like who is this one kid that tried to reinvent pi? Like, that's just like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you sound like the people trying to popularize cow as a constant, pi times two. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Actually, there's so there's so many projects. I want to name myself with different, but this one it's a bit mouthful. But at least I feel I'm satisfied enough because it combines two of the things that I actually the best. Yeah, yeah. Doing something doing technical things in a in expert way and
mhm.
showing my passion and love in mathematics in a way, but not completely. Yeah. Recently, I feel like
Right.
like recently I feel like I'm so detached from mathematics at one point. Like, it gives me so much headache. Like look at these look at these symbols. Why do they even do this? Like why are they just talking about normal numbers? But it's like give me this. Just pure like you can describe it. You can even like, the more I think about it, the more confusing. Very
Yeah.
why do you why did you have to do mathematics? Hmm.
Microstudy asked an interesting question about Vietnam. He said that he's seen you talking about your commute in the busy streets of Vietnam, and what's the craziest thing you've ever seen slash experienced while riding your bike to school?
Oh, school is it's easy to go to school, for example. But no. I would say different. People are like actually my from my place to my school is like 3 to 5 kilometers. It's not even that far. Like
Yeah.
I just go travel from here to here in like 10 or 15 minutes.
Hmm.
But Vietnam, no. You don't mess with Vietnam, no. There's so much thing going on with traffic in Vietnam. Like even tourists will be confused. How do they like this traffic like was so flawless? Like sometimes it was so flawlessly. Like you have to expect like if you watch every video that covers Vietnam traffic, for example, and this is so like it's like oh my god, that's like bees. Ants are going around. Like you can really expect what bad things will happen. Whenever you watch like first 5 or 10 seconds, you have to expect some bad things. Like why do they going so close? Why are they having close like 2 inches, like 2 or 3 inches? Like they're that close. Well, I'm so worried. Like I didn't even talk about one point that like I was almost run into an accident once actually. Like that's a bit. there's a big track over here. There's a like one big track over here, a taxi going on the right, track on the left, and they almost like turned me into a sandwich to be honest. Like because I had only like 10 minutes. Like I was late at that. I was late to go to work at that point, and it has only like 10 minutes to go to there. But I just only started going to the home, going from home to there, and then and then there's this middle point that's just like, oh my god, I can't even go to other side. I just feel that it's a one-way road. It's pretty much a one-way road. You can turn around. You pretty much can turn. You can only go one way, but if you want to turn around, you have to go like 1 or 2 kilometers before you even turn around.
Wow.
That's how hard that's how hard to try like to just go from point A to point B like that. It's not even. I mean, you can go to countries, several countryside like countryside most at least has some fun like least the significantly least traffic like. But
Mhm.
it's also dangerous spot. You have to avoid them. You have to try to evade them as much as possible.
Right.
So there's some good, like there may be give some good luck regardless of how you travel across around across this country. Like you have to rely some luck to be honest. Like if you go to this one road and you go to shortcut, imagine you go to shortcut and you don't go to straight ahead. You have to go shortcut, and then you actually run into another traffic jam. And oh boy, you're not so lucky today. Clearly, you're not so lucky today. Like I run into that like so many times
Right.
that I can't even recall much. So it's so intense. Like you can pretty much say like our traffic is actually so intense at so many points. Like despite regardless of how the weather went, how weather goes here. Like it's sunny, windy, it's rain or something like that. There's always something crazy happening. Our traffic.
Yeah,
You have to
definitely.
expect. You
Right.
have to expect that in order to survive, at least survive. Not yeah, it's
Okay,
pretty much.
so moving on from Vietnam traffic, uh,
I mean,
what
I
hobbies?
don't really.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
You can
yeah,
go
yeah.
now.
We can't talk about traffic the whole time. Maybe next time. We'll have a traffic stream next time. Hobbies or interests outside of puzzling? Do you have any?
Outside interest, yeah. Besides from learning more about science and
Yeah.
mathematics, that's not that. I do like some jogging. I was used to jogging so much.
Hmm.
There are actually many points where whenever I feel bored, whenever I feel that I want to kill this, like, like want to make my body feels like I want to challenge my body a bit more, then I go jogging.
Yeah.
Even this hot weather, I don't care about this hot weather. I just go jogging. Let's just go jog. Like I even ride bicycle. You can even ride bicycle like 10 kilometers or 15 kilometers. Just go like that. And yeah, that's mostly my hobbies. I don't really have that many. Like I said, I do like some watching movies. Like there's some cartoonish movie that I like to watch. There's some animes I do like to watch, but it's not as it's not as strong as I want to go. Like, it just pretty much exercise myself a bit. But
Right.
these days I'm just that lazy. Like, can you imagine going through this hard weather? Like it's basically hellfire. Like basically hellfire all over. Like from start to finish, morning to night, like pretty much hellfire all over the place. And
Yeah.
people say,
What is it
"Oh,
like
I want to
30
exercise." Yeah,
30
yeah,
degrees at midnight right now or something like that? You saying?
yeah. It's the 30 degrees Celsius. Shockingly,
Yeah.
let's say like that. It's madness because it's even crazier when you like when they even forecast that it will get harder in the end of May and even cross to June, like something like that. Like middle of June, it will cross like 40, 41 C or something. There will be place like 42 C.
Right.
Oh well, that's Australia turn. It's already gone. That's our turn to do that. Yeah, that's pretty much has the torture us. Let me pass too many torch to be honest. Oh my god, I can't even stand this weather. Like you can give me a extremely cold weather. Let's say the extremely cold weather here is like 16 Celsius for example. Like it's pretty much
That's
extreme for
like
me. Okay.
that's like super nice.
That's actually that's if you're in your place in other places, that's so nice. It's actually most comfortable temp like point that you can experience throughout the day. But 16C for me just like okay, that's way too much. That's way too cool for our country. I
Yeah.
mean, sure, there are some places you can get that to like 2 to 3, but for our big city like this, like if you can actually go to 16C, there is a problem.
Yeah.
Not just that one problem. That's that many problems.
Is like
Yeah,
it'd be like 2 degrees in Canada and people will be out wearing shorts and t-shirt like two
yes, actually,
degrees.
I find it shock. I find it shocking. Like now, some places adapt with such a extreme temperature, minus 20 C. Can you imagine minus 20 C?
Yes, yes, I can. I can imagine minus
Like
40.
like like you can't even like going through minus point already, going through like minus range already. You already feel some bit of worriness. Like you already worry too much about that. But then there's some place where just like okay, -2, take it or leave it. I would just take -3 for some. And then it's just like, there's no way you guys can even live through this day. Like, and yeah, I can I'm not that sure. Like, I'm so certain.
Yeah.
Like people explain to me already. Like, this temperature is perfect for us. It's not the same for you because you live in usually hot weather all over. Like 365 days, I already have 350 days hot. And
Yeah.
so yeah, it's just about adaptation. I'm from this country, so I have to live the most sensible way how this country will live. And if you want to travel to other side, you have to be yeah, you have to do a lot of things.
Hmm.
Yeah, you have to prepare a lot of things for that. Not
Yeah,
really.
definitely. Um,
Yeah.
okay, we'll ask Micro Studies other question about this book series, and then we'll move to the puzzle questions. So Micro Study, I'm just gonna paste this in the chat because I need to
Oh,
make a book report on a
ah,
favorite fantasy series. So would you kindly summarize the entire story of Battle of
mm,
the Archers in a minute or less? I've never read this, so
uh,
this is all on you.
oh no, actually, I actually abandoned the story for like 1 year, like one and a half year, or maybe. No, no, I retired the story. I was like, when I wrote this story, I was just like, well, I had this sort of flow. I have this sort of flow. Like, I think I will have, like, I will one day I will become a novelist, for example. I let's
Hmm.
write something that is very cool, teach people a lesson. Despite I'm not living that good of a life, but okay, maybe I'll write some life story. I guess it's just going on like that. It's just going on, like from date like day one to day two. I read some short story. I just in my head like, I had formed like 2 3 short stories and I decided to merge them together into a whole series of things. Like I don't really know define narrative. Define narrative about it. I just oh my god. Maybe me? No. Not saying that exclude me. Not saying, I'm the writer of there, so why should I exclude myself from being a narrative? Yes. But okay, I could just be multiplayers. Not only a writer, I know your narrative. I also play multi characters. That would be funny to be honest. But okay, and so the thinking about Battle of the Archer story, just a made up stories. I think when sound of nice and fun. No, 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 yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I can exclude that either. There's so many ideas where I want to make the short stories for example, just 1 to 2 pages, and, But somehow I decided to make this across like 7 posts of Battle with
Hmm.
the Archers. Like, what is wrong with me, to be honest? But I mean, why bro like that? I just go with it. I just went how everything I think down inside my head that and yeah when I revisit it, like I feels like I can extend the story much more because I leave it in such a cliffhanger point. Like, there's so many twists for such a short story. Why do you have to do that? Like, oh, is that off or something?
Hmm?
What? Oh, where's a black screen? Is that okay? Ah, okay. I
Oh,
thought it's
you
a black
turn.
screen going on. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, so basically, what I thought about Battle with just
Oh,
was like,
that's my bad.
and yeah,
Okay,
that's
I'll fix
actually
it.
that's a gate. Yeah, it's getting glitchy a bit, but it's
I
fine.
fixed it.
It's
Don't
fine.
worry. It's good.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know which one. Yours or mine? I don't.
It's my bad. It's on.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. Yeah, it's fine. It's
Discord.
fine.
Discord is trying to
So
save me memory and disabling your camera when I can't see it. Yeah.
why, why, why do I like? Why do we try to mess with you, but mess with my camera instead? Like, that makes no sense whatsoever.
No,
Why
it doesn't.
Discord?
Discord's
That
stupid.
makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, why he mess with you, but instead he mess with my camera only? And so, okay, so come back to Battle with the Archers. Like, when I read the story again, I was like, why did I have so many plot twists? Like, there's so many plot twists at the end. I was just like, wow, maybe I can become a novelist after all. Like, maybe I can become a film director if I want to. Like, no, that's no. Let's not think about that. That first. No, don't think like that, Playmaker. That's okay. 3 was series. Now pretty much every mini series from the whole entire series will be converted into one main story. No, I don't think I will. I will stand at that. I don't have that much of a spark to think about other plot, other storyline to it.
All right.
There's so many. There's so many details into it, but I can't even think of like I don't have the best experience in writing a good novel. I just write it. So I just leave it as a cliffhanger, like so in the to how people will interpret.
Right. All right. Let's move into less puzzle-based short stories and more puzzle-based puzzles. Uh,
We already to puzzle territory.
yeah, we're already in puzzle territory. Okay. Uh,
Yeah, since micro study already asked about traffic, like it's pretty much
yeah.
also a puzzle in my research.
Right. All right. Let's start with the first question I usually ask someone about puzzles is what was the first puzzle that you ever set?
The very first puzzle, it just right on there on LMD, like I name it very cutely, Battle with the Archers 1 by Playmaker6174. But no, just nothing. There are no caption, no good glorious intro. Just leave it like that. Yeah, I just name it like that. I make a post like in my head. I would think it would be a cool way, but man, it's a blame. That's a most bland one of my whole entire list. Like I can specify like in the whole 90. Like I'm not that surprised to be honest. Like my whole list of 90 puzzle, like exactly 90 puzzle. Oh, by the way, it's 91 of 90. I was talking about 91 later. Okay, so yeah, it's not a surprise that this is the most planned one so far. And I feel like this one approachable puzzle. I made that not that kind of approachable, but at least it has some engaging point. Yeah, if you try to solve it, you'll see why when I say if you have some good engaging point. Yeah, that's some funny to see.
Its blandness is its badge of distinctness.
Yeah, yeah, it's so simple. I just named it simple like that. I've made a whole storyline. I made some short storyline, like 1 or 2 sentences in my Word document, and I
Mhm.
just let leave it like that. Just I still leave it like that. That's also one, like at least I small one more sentence, so like 3 sentences. There we go. We have 3 sentence page. And so we have this funny puzzle. I feel like it's not that special to me, but at least it gives some sort of aspect into thinking. What should one think about arrow puzzle? You have to deal with arrow puzzle. What's the first some basic things you have to think about arrow puzzle? And I convert them and put them into one easy puzzle. Easy puzzle like this. Like and yeah, it's just that. It's just basically that. There's no special things. Where can we go? Like what the hell do I do? What the hell do I do? Think that this is a good idea. This is a nice way to add given one. Why do I have given one already? What do you put given one? What do you given two or three? You can add more given two. Like
So
people are saying like I see puzzle, but not not any givens. Well, what look at what you got. The first puzzle I had given one. There we go. That's just that.
thematic, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
when
very
you set
thematic.
this, was it was it difficult to set, or did you find it easy to
Like
set a puzzle
I
for the
just
first
said.
time?
I mean, I said it purely with a puzzle. I just mindly. I just mindlessly put some clues. I thought
Hmm.
about that as a first. That's the first puzzle. Like, there's no direct instinct. What should I do to make a cool puzzle? So I just add something, something, something. It's just funny. It's just familiar things. Every some of them had dealt with other arrow puzzle before, but some other like novice will solvers will find that this is fun.
Hmm.
I will do this and I do that, do that, and just it's just a very smooth way. And it's basically like that. It's just the history of this is not that much to remember. I said a plan. As I said, this is a plan. This the first plan in the series. There's no particularly any rem- any remarkable things that I got from it. Like when I said it, it's just like, oh, this puzzle's done. That's my very first puzzle. And I find okay, that's a good satisfied puzzle for beginners or even
Hmm.
experts. So you to find that's satisfying enough. Not just keep it like that. Just put it like that. Okay. But of course, I watch other people, so and 50% of them struggle. 20% of them actually destroy this. And other 30% will ask like, "What is this? What's that?" I just what is this one or two star? They gave me too long. Like, why is this 2 star? And I watch the stats of it. I find it quite surprising to be honest. Like, there's so many like 2 and 3. There's that many two. There's that many three. The number of people rated 2 out of 5 is bigger than 3 out of 5, and then 3 out of bigger than 3 out of 5. It just oscillated like that, like in like 2 or 3 months or something. I can't remember that. I can't remember that. But yeah, it's basically that. The number just so fun. And then there's actually a whole line of people just rated 2. Somebody rated 4. Somebody rated. I'm not sure if everybody rated 5 difficulty, but oh well. We just accept it. Just go in a day and here we go. That's the our first puzzle. I
Yeah.
also
So.
once tried to set thermal puzzle. I actually once tried to set thermal puzzle with
Hmm.
pretty much the same main set of things. And I feel discouraged for like 10 minutes or so. And because I already burned my energy to the first puzzle. That's my very first ever puzzle. Like I don't have the same energy range as I'm having that today. Like at that point, I'm just like, no, because I'm a beginner. Just like any character in the first episode of franchise.
Right.
I'm that like I'm
uh,
also inspired to say so many variants as well, but I just chose Arrow. So I feel like Arrow associated with my feelings so much in the past, and I just choose Arrow. Just
right. We'll get into
put it
your
like that.
love of arrows, I suppose. But speaking of like the first time
Actually,
you
I
started.
don't like even to like I will be honest, I'm not loving Arrow that much. much.
Right.
Like people say, I mean, the most favorite, of course, if people knowing me enough, and some of my favorite variants are actually Arrow, Killer, and X. Three of them.
Mhm.
Like throughout the time, the only three are my favorite, but not likely the best one. I cannot judge myself. Like, what is the best one of those three? Like, you can't really judge, to be honest. Like, I would
It's
still
killer.
find Killer
It's
better
easy.
than Arrow. Also, yeah, Killer is better than Arrow. Also,
Most of the
also,
time, yeah.
like, yeah,
Anyways,
it's much like,
speaking of your first setting foray, Kodak had asked what triggered you to try setting in the end after focusing so much on solving.
ah, actually, the direct. Like, this is a direct result from one of my uh, before this one actually there was a video solving a arrow puzzle as well from Digital Hakawa, and it's called Tellurium Chaos actually. I don't know if there's there's that stuff on the channel. I think this is but basically in that video the Simon actually shout out my name as well. That gave me basically like the whole pinpoint of the series. Like I was still considering Arrow and Killer. Killer, two of them are actually so fun to set. And what I think about Arrow, it's not really the same as Killer. Like I don't really show my love as much as the Killer one. Like Arrows didn't really come across my mind as the best one of us. Yeah. But basically, when Simon actually shouted my name from one of the Arrow puzzle, I just oh, this is actually funny because that puzzle is actually also one of the most remarkable Arrow puzzles I've solved too. And so that also gave me another sort of push, like push into the other side, like 51-49 for example. But try to try to make it look like a vote like 51% agree with Arrow, 49% agree with Killer. And so okay, I just go with Arrow. I'll just go with Arrow, see how it goes. Like actually, you will never see me. Like, if there's no shout out, you will see me just basically do a series of killer puzzle, like 40 entries or something. 40? That's like 40 entries. Like, also at that point, I will also make a tribute like to Clover Killer series, like Road to 37, I think the name is like that. Yeah, at that point, I assume that there's a time here. I will just make at that point. If I have gone with Killer, then I would just make a series of Killer that basically attribute to that series for Clovers. I think is I think Arrow. Arrow, on the other hand, Arrow, I don't really cross my mind so much. There's not that many cool idea at that point to me when it comes to Arrow. There's so many for killers, but not that much for Arrows, like 3 or 4, but killers are like 30 or 40 something. I just feel that I just go with my mindset. Oh, because Arrow are not that familiar actually. I search like I search at the puzzle catalog. It's not that many puzzle that associate arrows much as killer. So I try to do one with arrow puzzle and try to do like 5, 6, or even 8. But guess what? I actually made it to 10. I made it to 10. And not really 10, I would say 9. I mean, I don't count the black sheep, so 8.5. Okay, so this little go 8.5. And I was like, so 8.5 puzzles. And I was like, okay, okay, what should I do next? Because, okay, this whole of series here has gone so well. It's not going that well from my perspective. When I judge it, I finished the 10th one. The, the 10th one, I just sitting there, so like, do I feel like I'm satisfied enough with the series? Do I feel like I can be more creative? And
Mhm.
so I just doing things like analyzing things more. I just do. And because I said puzzle at that point, I was mainly set puzzle with only air puzzles. There's not many that much that introduced me into other kind of setting
Right.
methods. And I just said mainly an air puzzle. I just put in plus minus, like minus, like most of the point. Like I built mini structure. Like each mini structure actually fits for an official entry of the series. And then go with entry 1 to entry 7. And then goes the entry 8, which is the one that took me so long. Like I honestly don't think like I honestly don't think that I will be able to achieve myself. Like achieve myself to actually so many logic. I just put like one side like this, one row like this, one column like this, and it's all like cross stroke pattern. I was like, wow, this actually so logical. I was actually surprised. This actually can be so logical, but not really in the best way possible.
Right.
And so I sat over there just it's like along the table. I was analyzing it, solving in the efforts for like 4 to 6 hours. I just spent like 6 hours solving a puzzle that really just it's not very remarkable. It's not very remarkable. I put the pattern there and just like actually that's a giving much. I haven't been used to using like rank solvers. If you know rank solvers, you definitely know that. So basically, when there's no actual way to like like verify my thought. Like if this deduction, it actually sounds right. Yeah, this is not actually the original one. There's a whole one. There's a whole next one related to only 2 rows only. I put only 2 rows and then only column 6 and just like that. And then just put it like I put it in a way that they bend a bit. They actually bend a bit. One in column 6 actually bend a bit. And I just found out that maybe that's not that fascinating. They don't give me that much information anyway. And I don't understand why. I keep running into a problem. That whenever I solve, I keep running into a problem. And eventually I say, yeah, this puzzle has no solution. I was like, what? I was like, what? At that one point, I was like, there's no, why does it give me no solution? Actually, I put more gibbons into it. It's like, yes, there's no solution. So I just go straight up. So that's why I feel like I do the bend one, like the one I did with column 4, for example. And I just improvise myself, thinking like, okay, this may be a good idea. Let's try to make another one straight like row 4, row 6, for example. And I actually found out something very interesting. But if I add column 4 like that, I actually add column 4 like that for just like only for like, okay, why does it give me that much better result? Then it's so like I spent like 6 hours just for no solution, and I actually found a much better. If I just go with my first instinct and then and some of the errors, and I go, okay, this from a weird crossroad. Yeah, that shouldn't happen. Why is that cell over there? What's the error cell over there? It should be row 6, column 4. There's something very odd about that. I feel like this actually is so much better than I thought. It's so much better over the time. I actually spent only like 3 hours. 3 hours more. It's like, phew, you sure you want to use this pattern actually? Well, I don't have that much confidence. I didn't even have much confidence after getting the main. Mhm. But I actually put the other 4 2 cell arrows later. I put 4 2 cell arrows in box 1, 3, 7, and 9. Like, okay, this is a new pattern. This form us a beautiful symmetrical way. In a way, it's a bit symmetrical. And so just like that, I put an I put it by then they form some like 1 or 2 X squares. I didn't recall that many X. Yeah, actually, it's still logical. It's still logical. I kind of feel like I could have done better. Like, it's not like you got to Y wings instead because why would you love Y wing into your puzzle?
Right.
Like I just went like, okay, let's try to do this one last time. Let's try to spend my third day on this. Not
Yeah.
technically third day, it's more like second day because my supposed second day, I ran into some personal problems, so I couldn't even get much information for the second day, so I just spared for the third day. And I add more clues. I have some more funny clues to get. I form some funny geometrical shape with this, and that's fine. Oh, this is a cool way. And then I add some more parity. I don't even know why I want to add parity. That why don't I try to add killer cage for simple?
Hmm.
Why don't I try to do that? What do I have to do? Because I don't know, it feels the most tidiest way possible. I feel like the cleanest way possible. I didn't actually expect to see it actually has unique solution and how they play such a significant role at the end of the song. I feel like, okay, this is fun. Okay, that's just okay. This is fun. This is so fun. I feel like I achieved something funny. That's such a grateful fun. I feel like I'm really proud of how this went at the end. Like all the time, I feel like I struggle most of the time adding clues. I struggle at solving more than setting. But yeah, in the end, what it does, it does. If it was actually.
Right.
Simple was I just put it. Um,
I guess that relates somewhat to Woofer's question
yeah,
about how do you keep coming up with new ideas within rule sets, like with killer arrows or arrows that have been like super deeply explored. And I guess you sort of already answered that
yeah.
with this description, but
I
do you want to go
think
into that? Yeah.
yeah, I think this thing for me like as much as I solve it over the time, like
Hmm.
if I solve it, solve it to that one particular point, I feel like oh, this idea is actually interesting. Let's try to mm, put them into the writing board. So I'm trying to analyze it as much as possible. And I feel like when I solve it, I feel like I learned some more about the new variant, like some more crazy variant, like Little Killer, for example, which
Right.
I don't think many that enjoy that much. I still don't enjoy Little Killer, but I find it one of the most miraculous things that ever happened in puzzle, to be honest. Despite from being like it feels so random, it is just so random Little Killer puzzle. You have to think like, okay, how should I approach this? There's no one distinct one. How should I approach it? Let's look this clue, that clue, that clue, that. It's not that obvious to see why. Like, doesn't really hit with your intuition well.
Hmm.
Like other person, like other compared to other variants, Little Killer just doesn't really resonate with my thought process really well, to be honest. But I still find it funny. There's some coolness. There's some actually some elegance. If they were being used the right way, they're actually much more interested. And so come back to what I think about Arrow and Killer. Like I feel like whenever I solve the one particular point, I just feel okay, this two or three ideas I feel like look much well with standard variants like Grand Band, Whisper, Killer, and just much well. So I try to do some more extension. I try to
Right.
combine it together. Yeah, yeah. And so the first 2 or 3 days, every time I do that, I just spend like 2 or 3 days to think like it just sit in the corner. Like don't. It's just a way to think like most natural way possible. I just sit in the corner. Just say, like, there's a crowd of people like here, and then there's this one little guy here who try to think about some absurd thing you could do in a Sudoku or other hybrid puzzle. And it's like, okay, all right, okay. And that's like 2 to 3 hours, just going like that, just going like that. Oh, I feel like mm, probably many will agree with me, like something like that. There's also somewhat, there's also like some charm when it comes to like think about some funny ideas publicly like that. There's some funny, like when you try to solve online and then at one point there's something hit into your mind with like, wait, hmm, okay, this puzzle give me a cool idea. This give me a cool idea for the break-in, for example.
Right.
And then just put it like that. I just put it into like write that down in Patrick mode. It's just write that down, and I go, okay, let's try. Thank you. Like some of the ideas doesn't really go well like in my mind. At least like I'm just there's not that much free time to think about, to be honest. Like in the early days, I actually had more free time than as long like as long as I gone through the solve setting process. Like I actually have more free time in the early days than present. It's
Hmm.
like I didn't even spend that many times think about one idea. Not to mention to solving. I can't even keep track of how the things goes around the world. Like people are talking about Doppler. They think about Doppler. People are talking about some wacky shenanigan with the tensor pulsar hybrid, and I just only stop at S. I was like, am I some sort of like Internet Explorers? give, me, give me a bad way. It gave me bad confidence to be honest. Because I didn't really, at one point, I didn't really have my best energy, like the best state of mind to think about setting. I just go was solving 50 or 60 of them.
Right.
And then there only one point where actually it feels like, oh, actually, I want to go with setting for once. Like after solving for
Hmm.
like 3 weeks, I want to say something. And guess what? It just happened like it's like the beginning. It just happened exactly. So I just come back. And it didn't really hit me at that point. Like in the early points when after I said to like Unity puzzle, for example, I said
Hmm.
Unity puzzle. And right after Unity puzzle, I already thought about some more puzzle hybrid. I already thought about Tensor puzzle hybrid. But again, Tensor puzzle, I can't really choose which one will was the best idea I had at that point, to be honest. And so I just stick around with the Sudoku, like variant combos, and I just go, okay, this is funny. Let's try again. Let's try some more ideas with the current latest idea that I already have. I already have one here, so let's try to do that again. And so Killer and Arrow, like I spent like 1 week for Killer. I spent 1 week for Arrow, for example, and there's actually lots of ideas, both in Killer and Arrow. There's so many of them. I actually try to include more short arrows, but oh, I didn't really know how to include short arrows actually. So, because I haven't been at that point, I haven't been used to Penta, like Penta solver, for example. So I didn't even familiar with Penta setting, not to mention about solving all that. Yeah, I'm just talking my full commitment. But, I do solve some approachable pencil puzzle. I don't really solve online that much, but when it comes to like setting with arrows, like, I'll give you one. It's actually glitching over here, but
Yeah,
okay.
it's
So
glitching a
whatever
little bit,
Western,
but
yeah,
I can
it's
still
a
hear
bit
you all right,
glitchy.
so we're good.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit better
Okay,
now.
so yeah. Yeah, it's so bad here. Like hot weathers and bad internet connection. What could possibly be? I even like, I already drink my third bottle already. It's not that much. It's still not that. Hmm. It just shows how. Okay, I'm so sensitive to the hotness. Like I know this country is supposed to be like it's just supposed to be familiar with how humid temperature like this. But again, I can commit myself to adapting operators every 365 days like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Sometimes may feel yeah. So killer and error. There's so fun. So many shows. I set one with the build your own killer for example.
Right.
But it actually came very late. Build your own killers actually came like the last idea I had. What's the point of that? Because I love Excel. Actually love Excel. And then that feels like if I actually merge exam with killer building construction or something, if I build some killer puzzles, yeah, this is the one that I feel like the most satisfaction. Most satisfaction to be honest. Like despite being like that. And what I feel like when I said build your own killer puzzle, I was like, what could possibly be every single like what could possibly be the best way to think about solving this case like that? I think it would be good for chaos construction. But again, let's try to do this with sort of standard Sudoku, like because I'm mostly familiar with setting Sudoku. That's the first thing I'm familiar with. And so
Mhm.
it went sometimes it went well, sometimes it went like there's actually a huge pile of rocks coming to my head at that point. Like that's not that funny of an idea like, to include like six cell cage, like six cage cell into a box. Like, why would you make overlap cage? Like he was like, what's your point with making overlap cage? Why would you decide to make overlap cage? This sounds so madness. But hey, you saw puzzle with overlap little killers, so give you that. Okay. Um so for me to that point, it's like okay, this sort of concept is basically a fusion between exam and killer. So let's try to do that. Two of my favorite things. I can go bad, right? Oh my god. The first 3 days. Oh no, I keep running into trouble. Like because when I solve something, when I solve like first version, second version, it's the criminal mind over here. Actually, like a sixth version. There's like five different versions already. It's like solving. That's the setting where I was like, holy cow, how do they solve? Yeah, I don't know how do I feel like it should be the greatest idea ever. Like killer is like I saw that I run into trouble like because whenever I add one more case, people somewhat ruin the other case logic. So basically, it just happened to be like that. It ruined all the logic. I feel like, oh no, I should be done. That shouldn't happen. But it keeps happening. It keeps happening all over the time. Like first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and then sixth. Not even the sixth could avoid the same trouble. It's so hard to think like. Maybe I'm just familiar with certain hard things, but again, it was separate easy thing. That was much more accessible. That was much more divisive and more logic, more idea to talk about. So I'm not familiar with setting hard puzzle. I was just like, oh, actually, this hard puzzle can really explore this one to the limit. So let's try to set this one in the way that will shock everyone because of how crazy that is.
Right.
like basically, basically the sixth version originally it has more arrow to be honest. Like basically all the case cell has arrow, and then it comes to my mind and say, "Hey, Playmaker." I was like, "What?" Then my brain just so basically like, let's not include arrow in some of these, and I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" I was like, "That's not that fun." My brain just act crazy like that. Sometimes my brain just act crazy. Why would you not want some arrow? Like, to talk about logic, like interferes with other cases already crazy. Like, let's imagine not include error and try to make people think how to reduce them, how to make them in one direction.
Hmm.
Hmm. And yeah, it actually went well. It's not that bad, but I feel it's much more fun. It's much more fantastic. I expected to go very badly, to be honest, because no arrows. So you kidding me? Like that's basically bifurcation over. You don't want to bifurcate some sort. Like already one direction. If you think about the option for one direction, that's like 10 different things. Let's imagine to do this in 4 different directions. And then
Yeah.
the four came in. The four came in as like, okay, I turn it into 8 directions. It's like no. Let's not exclude arrows, please. No. You include diagonal. There's no way you should try to.
No.
make people to think that that's the which direction to go. That's already like no, no, don't think. Just don't think about that. You will go insane after like 10 seconds, and
Yeah.
then pretty much yeah, it's pretty much go like that. The first edition, and it went extremely well. There's some struggle. It went extremely well. Second went also well. Third one, I think the longest. That's the longest effort I think I ever put up to a break-in, to be honest. I think this break-in at that point, so there's so much thing going into the break-in. I was like, "Hmm, yeah, this one here, this break-in. Oh my god. I just look into myself like, can you turn this into the intended path? Like there's so many ways to interpret. There's so many ways. And I all eventually made into the same conclusion. Okay, this 315 gauge actually does something wonderful that I don't even expect. I didn't even expect to. Like red 15 gauge is just extraordinary. Like
Mhm.
not to mention like 3 15 gauge. Like 3 15 gauge is one of the most crazy. It's like one of the most funny. Like I
Yeah.
can't even describe this. There's no good. Actually, I should say about 3 15 gauge is somewhat cool. Like, it's very cool. They must satisfy some specific properties. Like they must contain at least one digit from 456. They must contain at least one digit from 258, and so on like that. And just go. Okay, that's actually a cool idea. And let's try to include that into some way like this. Actually, I cannot include it anyway because that's very hard. There's no particular way I can try to do that when I'm messing with other case. And so I just put 15 gauge, rest so 315 gauge like that. And so I found out about there's something that really happens there. It just can't happen. There's something that just can't happen to be around 15 grade gauge, for example. And so it just went on. Just as long as you progress, there's always new thing. I keep wondering about what's this special with 15 gauge. There's nothing else I can do about that. I just go back to this and was like, cool. That's actually cool. That's actually cool. I love these things. I think the more I do about it, it's like that's so wonderful. Like pretty much if I said other hard puzzle, they have the same thing. Like I keep myself a feeling like KT so KT actually says some exceptional puzzle. And then Kodak actually says some exceptional puzzle. This idea actually is so good. I've never thought about it in a million years. And then and then when I actually got one puzzle like this, actually this is one break-in that I actually would never thought about in a million years. So the spoiler actually took 6 days only. So 6 days. It's been like so there's so much for opening. That's like this one would be the best entry, I think. Not to mention the blue case like that. There's some cool symmetrical way. There's some plenty of geometric way to deduce from that. There's some very cool interaction that you don't expect to see from other killer puzzle because killer puzzle and actually because when you stand the more you stand by the case the the more information, the more unexpected information you will get from a certain cage, like 15 cage again, for example, and then 11 cage, and then goes on like that. It just happened like
Mhm.
and yeah, yeah, I find it so rewarding to the point that I celebrate myself. Like, I literally celebrate myself that one. It was like so it's sad, not exactly my birthday. So like my birthday is only like 6 more months. And just like I celebrate this puzzle. When I finish setting this puzzle, like just so happy. I don't know, there's so many fun puzzles. There's so many hard puzzles where I just said, oh like, okay, let's just happen like that. Let's just leave it like that. And then there's some puzzle, easy or hard or medium, something like that. Medium difficulty. And then I just like, oh my god, this is among the most satisfaction I could get from rather from a puzzle. No, it just happened to be satisfying like that. It just happened to be profound. The ideas here are so so intricate, but they also give me somewhat surprise. Like even when it gives a set of surprise, like actually some
So
I actually
speaking
couldn't
of,
think of
I guess, hard puzzles and what you find satisfying from them, I guess we can go into the KNT question, which I'm sure
one.
you're dreading. Uh,
Oh man, this is a hard.
yeah. So KNT asked, when solving hard puzzles, do you prefer to know what to do, uh, but have trouble doing it, or not know what to do but have an easier time once you figure out what is needed to be done?
Oh
Which is
my God,
quite an interesting question.
that's quite interesting question actually. That's much more interesting question. The more you think about it, I'm just like, how can I answer such a sophisticated question like that? Like, there's no particular way. I feel like I'm leaning onto one side. Like I mean, I just lean to one side. Like, I love doing when puzzle. I feel rewarded to solve it. Like, it doesn't feel
Hmm.
trivial. It doesn't feel trivial like to just bifurcate. People usually just
Right.
bifurcate. See, like, yeah, people work like they're not working hard enough to see the right things, which is the way that to do at the start, like that, just like that. It just happens so like that, and then it's like, okay, so I know my true potential. Like I feel like there's some very interesting conclusion. I feel that on my setting, like my setting ability. Like I like to set some puzzle that I feel like that's the most rewarding. Actually, there's actually some great art that without making it feel so trivial and making it so unfair for some. And I feel like that why setting hard puzzle, set an easy puzzle. Listen, just think about like setting hard puzzle compared to easy puzzle. And I was like, well, what's the difference between setting hard puzzle and an easy puzzle that still remain nice and nice and coolness compared to the hard puzzle? Because hard puzzle, when you talk about hard puzzle, you have a clear mind to expect that these hard puzzles should be more like more rewarding stuff, like have some more cool like ideas, like hard ideas, because they explore some of the ideas to the limit. And once the solver actually figure it out, it's just like, oh, that's a miracle. This is actually a miracle.
Right.
And they never thought about that in the daily solve. Like, people setting easy, medium, like people solving easy or just medium difficulty, just like these ideas would never really appear in there. This just never appear in there because again there is some they tend to trivialize some of the clues in there. They mostly
Hmm.
trying to trivialize. That
Right.
actually explore them to the limit. They don't give it. Like, if it's actually one, even if there's one deduction that will make you feel that it's actually harder than the rest, like actually hard, and that will actually lead to for the five difficulty. Like, I would just like just
Oh, you're breaking up a little
make
bit.
the rest of the
Okay.
flow.
Uh,
Doesn't fit well with the rest of the flow. Like we have a whole flow. We have a whole soap that the first 90% of it was pure 2 out of 5 difficulty. Like that is just easy. There's nothing to be about that. And then the last 10%, I was like, some of them will be like, oh, what is this? What is this? What is this final deduction? I don't really like this ending. Maybe some of them. But actually, if people are solving enough puzzle, then like hardcore try, like hardcore solver try to solve like in a most try hard way possible. And that's they will be like, oh, this actually easier than I thought. This feels also like 2 out of 5. And then some
right.
unfamiliar for some set solvers that are not really not familiar with how this type of reductions should work. So okay, just straight up into for the 5 book, no doubt, period,
Hmm.
like that. You just put it like that, and that's it's actually very hard, very hard to specify like what should we do when try to set hard puzzle. What ideas do we should we lean into? Like, what's the most ideal way to make a great hard puzzle? What's the ideal way to make a great easy puzzle compared to easier puzzle version? It's such a hard thing. Like it keeps me questioning about it all the time. Like I'm mostly used to setting hard puzzle, mainly setting hard puzzle. Like pretty much if you look at my list, like all of them are pretty much into 3 to 4 categories, something like that.
Hmm.
And then and when I actually tried to set a 2 out of 5, I was like, okay, let's keep it easy. Let's try to keep it easy. And let's try to do that. I actually can't figure myself how to set a easy puzzle that feel the same exceptional level as the harder ones on the
Right.
list. For some. It's such a demanding way. The challenging it's also somewhat challenging because when you think about it, it's like why should an easy puzzle have the same level of remarkable like remarkable and other type of special that you only found in you only find in hard puzzle. And that's so then keep a water because can't keep myself into thinking things in easier way and setting things in easier way, but still remain the way that I've done over the time.
Hmm.
And just like that, it just so happened. Like I can't even keep track. There's so much thing going. There's so much thing into the judging myself, but to thinking about what should I do? Like what should I feel? What would be the most rewarding to set hard puzzle without actually making it feel confusing to both sides? Like in terms of how setters and solvers think. Setters might find it fair, but solvers not always guarantee that. But in
Hmm.
easy mode, that almost certainly guaranteed. And it keeps questioning. Like there's so much thing to debate all over the time. And so, what about Katie question here? It's just I don't have a proper answer because whenever I reach to a certain point of solving things, like if I will come to a point that like this is the point one here. Like I like to do things rewarding, but to have trouble in finding something, right? So okay, this is point one. But then when I try to say something, just as explicitly, like not very clear answer, but actually has a good flow here. Actually leading to number two. Like, and then it go back to number one. At a certain point, solve it again. It's just bouncing back. For me, it's bouncing back. I can't even determine a proper way to answer this because if I just lean it to one side, I do feel unjustified to nothing. Why should the second one? Why should the second one shouldn't be possible as well? And you should be. There's no reason why the second one should be possible. You tend to do that. You tend to do hard puzzle your way. There's no actual reason to exclude yourself from achieving that kind of thing. Like have easier time to do things. It's
Right.
just so happen. And I feel like one of the things where I feel like was set in hard puzzle. Hmm. Give me one moment.
No worries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I have to do this every time. Like
Yeah, of course.
it's so hard of it.
No one's judging you. We already discussed the temperature at length.
Yeah, yeah. Remember to stay hydrated
Hydrated,
every
yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, must be hydrated. I have to accept myself into. But by the way, this is not actual 7 Up. They don't actually think that this is 7 Up. I was everyone to thinking. Yes,
Hydrated with 7 Up,
yeah,
yeah.
I was a 7 Up addict. I'm not that addicted into like soda. I'm not that addicted. I mean, I could try to. I'm so used to drinking Pepsi. One even diet Pepsi.
All
And
right.
that is good. I'm not that familiar.
I I guess transitioning back to puzzles, Turgenis asked a similar question about heart puzzles and willpower. He said, "I've seen you praise puzzles that you struggle with for a long time. Often, being after being hesitant to try them at all, what do you find in puzzles that takes so much of your willpower to solve them?"
Oh my gosh. What do you find puzzle? Hmm. There's a lot of factors actually. I feel like I spent when a puzzle is estimated to be that hard, it will actually took me I will actually think about, okay, let's try to spend a reasonable amount of time for this puzzle first. Let's try to do that. Let's try to divide it into stage. Try to think of how far can I make to certain hard puzzle. And I was fully committed. Whenever I try to talk about it, I was fully committed to that. Basically, it's it's full straight commitment. Like it's straight 100%. I try to solve it to the end, and then and because you know the consequence, I will so be easily to into rage quit mode.
Mhm.
I, like I saw 4 or 5 hard puzzle. Like you solve LMD puzzle, you just solve. Okay, this is 3 out of 5 puzzle. Let's try to solve it. And this one people phrase is so cool. It's differently. Oh, actually, it's a 3 out of 5. I love that. Oh my god, there's so much thing. And then this right next to this one. Then this also one 3 out of 5 difficulty. Like they only have like 6 solve or something. I was like, oh, should I try it? Because I only upload on that for like 2 days. So let's try that. And boy, it wasn't good.
Yeah.
It really wasn't. It took me 2 days.
Yeah.
a, a 3 out of 5 difficulty puzzle. It actually took me 2 days. I was so traumatized. I'm like people don't. I guess people at that point, some people at that point didn't really know how to change the difficulty. Like there's an option for the difficulty change, which I find
Uh-huh.
it ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, like 2 out of 5 difficulty, not easy. Okay, that's funny. Okay, 3 out of 5 average. Okay, okay, guys, cool. 4 out of 5 hard. 5 out of 5 very hard. 6 out of 5. Wait, there's no 6 out of 5.
No.
Mm. There's no 6 out of 5.
Only
And
in our
so
minds.
that's monstrous 3 out of 5. It keep me haunted for days. That still keep me haunted. I don't remember exactly the title, but whenever I think about it, because it has sandwich in little kill level. And it's just like, why is it so hard? Like, why do people tend to say something that will completely blow everyone's mind? There's no good answer. There's just no good answer. Why do people set hard puzzle that's completely out of the everyone's league? Like completely blows the system out of water. Literally. Like I can't really explain why.
Right.
And so to one point I feel like I was fully committed enough into solving some of them. Like I think I still a bit shy about that. Like, people will keep raising me to like, wow, this hard person. I would never make progress in like 10,000 years. This guy somehow been able to spot it. The one thing, the
Mhm.
one internet, not only the internet thing, but also in a cooler way possible, like coolest way possible. Like some sector will find it ridiculous because such a it's ridiculously crazy. And yet I found a smoother way. Some of that I found a smoother way to do that. It's like, wait, why haven't I think of that before? It's also mostly happened. Yes, mostly happened with my puzzle all the time. I can really control it. I
Yeah.
control myself. Listen, there's also this one problem when it comes to setting hard puzzles. Like you're not really sure if you try to control your path completely without butchering the whole experience. Like, for example, like the one you want to find jailbreaking extremely difficult. That's easy, right? It's actually somewhat
Right.
easy to find jailbreaking extremely difficult. And then you control it. And then you add more clues to feel like, oh, the second stage, your second stage to also be more difficult. It's also as difficult as the first one. And this is like that. And then the second part actually ruined the first part. Yeah,
Hmm.
most of the time when I did that, I just ruin myself. I just disappoint myself like that. And I promise that I would never do such thing. I would just let how things go. I would try to add things so that it goes together naturally, not just like interfere with each other.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so solving hard puzzles. Into solving hard puzzles actually funny, but that's somewhat emotional. When try to solve Layla, I think so. It was still a nightmare to me, but I just don't know why I managed to solve. That's also quite a mouthful for Sam. I also solved quite a mouthful. In like any intentional, I wrote it like I should have written it on a book, for example. I should have written it step by step in the book because till now I still can remember a step. There's no way I can remember a step. Aside from seeing that, okay, this clue added to something specific, right? So I try to add more. So I try to be more confident with this. I'm the one of the quite the Marvel solvers, which is probably the craziest thing at that. But oh man, if you thought that quite a Marvel was already the hardest thing, you should try to visit the old catalog of Logic Master Germany. Like, oh my
Hmm.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to really, really, really be. Like, you are really a rookie on that page, like rookie. Like,
Hmm.
when you first manage to search the history of Logic Master Germany, see this sort of whole catalog, it's just like, man, I take that word back. I took that word back. That is million times harder than I thought it should be.
Yeah, definitely.
Uh, yeah. Oh, I even solved some of them, guys. Okay, some of them are funny. I didn't even resist that because again, I don't know why I don't do that
Hmm.
again. And I just like again, it's just so crazy. All over. It happens like that. It gave me some sort of boost, like confidence boost, like in a way. I went actually solve a much harder puzzle from that quite a mouthful. I was only but I was only bedazzled at the fact that actually what is that? Like what is that deduction? What is that deduction? Like how many people during the old time can just go figure out that those type of things? Like, it's sheer madness. It keeps going on. Like I can't even understand why. But I guess people already adapting the like already adapted enough to set in such crazy puzzle. I'm not even sure that I could be able to set in crazy puzzle. Like the only time I managed to do that was probably the 6 by 6 by 6 code. Isn't like did anybody try to solve a Playmaker? What is this clue? What do you do about outside clue? What how did you do that? How do you think this is a good idea? Like I was just like, oh, because I'm that kind of a person. And that kind of person, it's just the attitude. That's like because I found most of them like, okay, this only belong to one type of outside look, which is boring over. I think it's a bit boring. It's just like let's add some game changer. Or maybe that's too much of a game changer. I can't even tell. And just like I add so many rules into that. It's just like man, I should consider that ending part of it. That's so much crazy. That's too crazy for a playmaker. Yeah, this one here, I should done. I feel I should have done better. Despite getting some good like good feedback, I feel like because some great experts so actually didn't manage to find the ending in the best way possible. It's like okay, okay, that's not really the most exciting way to conclude a puzzle after such a profound and satisfying experience in the first like two-thirds of the puzzle. And you went into the final third. It's like, oh boy, this is not gonna be easy. This is not gonna be easy. It's, why would you try to? why do you try to make different clues like or different outside clues like that? Like it's just there's no continuity like that. This should not happen to be and so on, so on. So I feel like doing link puzzle actually gave me enough boost to just like hey, in a way I achieved success in like 80% of this one. And then the 20% I just butchered it. was for some reason. Like I went for the geometry. I keep going with that. This is the huge mistake that I keep stumbling up on like every single time. Like for a specific type, like specific pattern of geometry, which is a huge mistake. If you can guarantee the solve path to be as much like following the as the previous path, right? Then you will, probably don't have the best experience for the others. Like, other
Right.
solver will have the same experience as you do. So what you think about you trying to say about symmetrical thing or just following a specific pattern? You have to make sure that they are reasonable. They should be completely fairly reasonable to a point that okay, within my limit, I can find it within my like my solving ability. I can figure it out within like 10 or 15 minutes, and above that, I can't even do anything. I just quit. Like just basically quit. Like, there's so many things that actually it's real. Like, there's some solvers are not really just like okay, I'm just familiar with standard logic. That's not not to this type of logic. It's like advanced logic. I'm not that familiar to certain puzzle with advanced logic because again, I'm sometimes thinking too much. There's so much. Right, I'm used to setting hard puzzle, which means I had to think in hard way. Like I had to think in such a way that it feels rewarding. It feels both rewarding and not trivial. But I guess when I try to achieve one of those things, then the other thing just like okay, adios.
Right.
Yeah, I said puzzle like whenever I said puzzle, like it is try to intricate logic. I should try to do with specific pattern. I'm familiar with specific. I'm not familiar with like setting something that feels like completely. I took like half of the brick, for example. It can take like half of the brick to find out the break it. It's just like, oh, okay, just try to do with specific patterns and and try to make progress. I could be good. Let me be bad, right?
Right.
That's not really as much. That's just my type of setting skill, and I'm not really sure everyone resonate with that much well as well. That's just my type of thing that really about the familiarity, how you should how you should solve and how you should set, how you should judge the rating all over the time. It's like that.
Right.
You have to be reasonable. You have to be very reasonable in your way to use some specific pattern for the puzzle. Just it just happened that if you can control the way that specific pattern happen to do like that, and that could screw pretty much all the puzzle. Entire puzzle will just be broken and not really follow your intended way anymore. At that point, you feel like you don't have the most satisfaction at the end.
Hmm.
So that's just
Well, Codex here, so I guess we should answer uh,
like,
the burning
oh, but
question. Uh, oh, why do you always toss hot fire men at Kodak?
oh, I'm sorry, Kodak. I mean, I have a spare amount of hot fireman. Like every time that everywhere in my place over here, there will always be a hot fireman. Like it's not even if like it's not even inevitable. It's just not unavoidable at this point.
Right.
Like, you can avoid a pure crazy hot spiciness. It's
Right.
always like well to say why do you always toss hot fireman at me? I should say that blame Disco. This was the main villain here. I can even feel that I should be responsible for this. I follow the order, but I can don't. Yeah, I just follow one of the orders. I'm the servant of this.
Okay. I guess moving back to puzzles, we can touch on a different subject. Woofers had asked, have you considered setting non-Sudoku pencil puzzle type
Oh,
things?
actually, there's a lot actually. I said also subject, but I didn't really share how to play most of them because I feel like they are not really that good in terms of their standard charm. Like for example, if I said like half carry puzzle for example, if I said half, I feel like I'm so familiar with setting easy stuff. It's not really special compared to the standard charm. It's just like that. It just happened like that. I really didn't. I just said them the best way possible. I didn't really resonate with my thought that setting pencil puzzle would be that fun. It's in the past. It's in the past. And until now, I feel like I'm starting to gain some more inspiration as
Hmm.
the setting process going. I'm more and more familiar with solving. So in terms of return of that, like get to set hard puzzle. I get to set pencil puzzle. Oh, not hard puzzle. Okay, so setting pencil puzzles, most of the time they can be either very fun, either very confusing, either very frustrating, or just a combination of all of them. I, the first ever I managed to set all the pencil puzzle was I think a star battle puzzle. This the one star battle puzzle for the Secret Center event
Hmm.
that was held in Discord. I think it's the first previous two events ago. Yeah. Yeah, actually, it's not technically. I haven't set any pencil puzzle. It's just that I'm not that familiar with setting pencil puzzle. But in most of the past, like until now, I think it's like October 2022. I think like start to gain more ideas of pencil puzzle hybrid because more and more people are getting into like
Hmm.
most of that's the, yeah. And I just feel like, okay, let's try to follow the trend. Let's try to say something. I feel like should be fun. I feel like should be cool. Yeah, as fun as I did with Sudoku. I managed to set up them, and actually, I feel like I also didn't want to share that much because I said some of them, but I didn't share. It's not that cool in terms of the standard. Most of them was trivial. I haven't the best mindset to set it pencil puzzle. It's not really. Maybe if I should could have spent more time with it, it could be better. It could be much more fine experience. But again, I haven't gotten enough more time. I haven't enough time just for thinking about best idea for pencil puzzle.
Right.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
that's like horror, and then people will be like, "Hold up, wait, you say that, but you're also making more Sudokus. Like, well, let's validate your point already. Let's just define your point already. The point of it was like, no, no, that's not bad about that. That's not bad about just setting one specific type of puzzle.
yeah.
As long as you try to get more creative ideas, I think it will be fine. It's not like
Hmm.
if you don't follow the trend, it's all right. I don't feel that much of a problem, to be honest. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
just find that yeah, I just find that when you like when you find some more cool things, like there's some more cool things from a channel that's already been explored so much in like previous 6 years or so, and you feel like, wow, it's so fun. I don't think that it could be this fun, for example.
Right.
And it's just like, okay, let's at least if I can try to satisfy other places, let's try to satisfy this one particular place here as much as possible. I keep going with it. I keep going with the flow. My thoughts like coming up with new idea for Sudoku puzzle. Yeah, it's like just keeping up with the recent trend. It's pretty much don't really resonate feelings over as in the past. There's no much.
Um,
I feel like okay, so setting. Well, we will still consider setting the pencil puzzle someday. Like, I'm not excluding that.
yeah.
Yeah,
I was wondering, do you find more enjoyment in the solving process or the setting process? Because you do a lot of both of those.
yeah. I personally find solving like most of the time when I solve something, I enjoy the moment, but I feel like oh, this aha moment. That's this one or two aha moment that will keep highlight my day for keep lighting my day for like entire week or even week as well. And I just like, oh fine. Oh, so cool. Like in the setting, I don't really experience the same way as in the solving. Like there can be frustrating moment. Sure, solving is
Yeah,
also
for sure.
frustrating. But most of the time, I find solving much more of a satisfaction thing. There's a much more or like discoveries. Yeah,
Hmm.
I also feel like people are embedding some of the cool ideas into, and then when you actually find some of them, actually find out the internet idea, I'm just like, ooh, what a way, what a way to make a puzzle, what a way to set a puzzle, and it keeps going like that because you continue to solve it. Like you're doing like two, three, four, five puzzle. It keeps going on. Like so much better benefit for me compared to setting. The setting for one puzzle is okay. It's satisfying, but it's not really reached to the same level. I feel like for the solving.
Right.
Like it just happened. It just happened. Like solving. When you solve four, five cool puzzle, I feel like oh, they actually make my week better.
Hmm.
Most of the time, I feel like they make my week better. And that gave me the same idea into thinking that I should say that also hence that whenever I reach to a certain form of solving, this came to my mind that okay, let's try to make cool puzzle as well because they make it. Because why not try to
Hmm.
make it? And okay,
That's right.
okay, that's good. That's good. Let's just go with that. I just go with the flow. Dude, like as long as there's always a new thing, as long as always a cool thing to do that, then this playmaker will always had a good idea. Yeah, yeah, the cool idea for the person.
Yeah.
Mm.
Kenneth Palmer had asked this question on a different stream, but I think it's a cool one. If you were a unique rule set, which one would you be? Like your
Oh wow,
personality.
oh wow, actually, the fact that actually that's a very name killer really says something. No, 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 I won't be killed. Oh, whoa, actually, the wonderful, I still don't understand some of the names. Like killers are one thing. Like of course, killers one thing. This feels completely absurd and somewhat inconvenient that when you think, wait, why is this sort of a reforming variant here? Name killer. Like, do killer actually do something like that? Do killer actually spread the area like that? And I feels
Yeah.
okay. Killer. Let's just go with it. Killer. Okay, killer variant. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Killers, normal killer variant apply. Which is okay. I will say. If you really talk about normal killer variant of life, people will outside that people are not really familiar with how the thing goes. It's just like, what is this guy?
Yeah. Yeah, I
What
think it
is
was
this
supposed
guy
to be
thinking about?
the higher
Uh, that would that
difficulty
would
one.
not that would not really be the most comfortable day. Just uh, okay. So actually, I think about a variant. It's actually very hard. It's just, but if I want to think about a specific variant, I have to also be reasonable, which is, of course, is not really the best. Like the more you try to convince yourself that okay, you will be this A, B, C variant, the crazy, also the weird. One would think about that. Like, why would you try to associate something you with something like this? Shouldn't it should be like this? And why would you try to associate yourself with one thing that only do certain things like that? And I think that if I just try to do one variant, that could be Ambiguity. Ambiguity was like dots, like this dot could be black, white, or green, like red, or something like that. Could be any type of virus. It's nothing like that. I feel like I can't really bring myself into thinking a specific variant that would suit myself. But ambiguity, I feel like is the best way to associate myself with that because I
Hmm.
keep changing. Like
Yeah.
my way to solve keep changing over the time. So I feel like ambiguity would probably fit for the best category.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. That's definitely a nice answer.
People
Um.
could try to like think about like little killer. It's also a funny one. Like if some people are talking about they want to be a killer, some people want to be a killer, some people want to be a fortress, some people want to be an anti-king. Okay, why you talk about anti-king like this publicly? You're not supposed to say it like that. No. That's a very sensitive word to say. Just like okay, let's stick with ambiguity. Let's feel like keep changing over the time. You have to reduce yourself.
Yeah. Um. Let's do the rapid fire questions before we run out of time. So one answer
Uh,
or the other as quickly as you can. Uh,
okay.
Local or global deductions.
Um, I would say local. I,
Okay. You want to give reasoning or or you want to move on?
no, I feel like most of the time I must set with more local. Like most of the time
Yeah.
I just set with solve with more locals than global. And global can be very hard to control to be honest. I don't really
Yeah.
find myself into thinking that I would bash my head to saying that I should control a puzzle that feels as this grid is very scarce. I should try to control it only in global mode. They
Hmm.
can't even do that in the most sensible way possible. So I just say local give me the most comfortable way possible.
Yeah. Coloring or good living.
Coloring. I feel like coloring. I like coloring much
Simple or
more.
complex.
No. Yeah. People say good living. Good living is also good. I feel like good living was also be profitable for much more games because you just solve hard puzzle. You have to good living all over. So it's like okay, that's fair. I'm just stick with coloring. Coloring feels like the most like elegant. I don't know if you say that, but feels like more natural for me to do as the software goes on. Just stick with coloring.
Okay.
Feels like
uh,
give me the more satisfaction.
gotcha. Okay. Ready to move on?
Hmm. I think number two.
O- Okay. Simple or complex is the next one.
Oh, I'm usually overthinking a lot, so just complex.
Just
There's
keep
no
it
actual
just
reason
keep it
behind.
simple and go
Just
complex.
I just keep it simple. Yeah, that's actually fine. Like I can really say I'm leaning to a simple way most
Okay.
of the time. Just go find out elegant spot from hard mode.
Yeah. Okay. Geometry or arithmetic.
Arithmetic, surely arithmetic.
Fair enough.
People would try to say that yeah, you love math, so geometry was also suited sometimes. Like no, I personally would prefer addition and subtraction much more than just
Hmm.
playing around geometry that would confuse me for like 10 hours.
Penpa or F puzzles.
Oh my god, how to choose? I think this may be controversial. I would say apples because most of the time I feel like I would need apples or to verify some of my solution. Like Penpal is versatile. Like first Penpal usually has much more modes than apples. But if you want to clarify or verify your solution or your send a solve path, then apples will be better way.
Yeah, for
You can
sure.
also you can also write down some more deduction on a paper or something like that. I feel papers would just bypass most of the much faster.
All right. Sudoku or pencil puzzles?
I'm in that fine. Actually, I would say in the middle. I can really choose. Even though I would say
Interesting.
I said like I said 90 Sudokus. I even said like bunch of 100 Sudokus at this point. Like 90 of them on Logic Master Germany and others on CTC server. Well, it's not. This is be obvious to say that I'm leaning onto Sudokus, but not really. I'm into considering some more hybrid. Like, I mean that fun.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Chaos or order?
Hmm. Order. I think much more suitable in controlling way in order than chaos. To be honest.
All right. Calculator or abacus?
Calculate.
Okay.
At that point, I don't really know if anybody feels like abacus would be as much powerful as the calculator. This calculator keeps evolving so much. It's so amazing how much people can do for just one tiny calculator.
Yeah,
Mm.
definitely amazing. Cages or lines?
Hmm. Oh, this is hard. I feel it lines because cage doesn't really have the diagonal option. If you think about that, line has pretty much everything.
Yeah,
Cage is very limited into like orthogon. So
fair enough.
I was just thinking line.
Oh, excuse me. Arrows or dots?
Hmm. Shockingly dots. Like I feel like dots are much more somewhat interesting. Like yeah, this might be shocking. I feel like dots are giving somewhat funny to me. Like
Okay.
people are convinced that the arrows. If you people are saying arrow in terms of small arrow, I would change it to arrow. Like if you try to combine big and small arrow, just like and just say less dot. I feel like dots funny.
Okay. Battle of the dots, yeah. Uh, to disambiguate a puzzle, given or clue.
Hmm. Even no clues. If I can really choose either. Like I would say it depends on which type of rule set would you deal with. Most of the case, would you say a clue would be better? Or and also some of the case I feel like one given or two given would be much better besides of adding like complex structure. Very dependent.
Like Birdman.
Hmm. Okay, cool about. Hmm. People are still shocking about why did I just start? I, there's a certain point I feel like dots could be much more revolutionized than arrow. Despite being like 8-way possible, I feel like dot could be done much better than arrow. It just coming to my mind.
All right, have we decided given or clue?
Given a clue, I say dependent. I can choose a proper answer for that. I can decide
Okay,
which one would be better. Yeah. It really depends on the which type of situation would be.
fair enough.
Hmm.
Outside or inside clues?
Hmm. Inside, most of the time, I feel like inside would give me much more feasible control in
Yeah,
most of a certain area. In outside clues, you can really guarantee most of it. Like they can just say that it will contain some of this area, like want to say in this way or that way. It's not really certain as much as I think is in inside.
right. Good or evil?
um, anti-hero. No, I can really say I won't be evil, but I can really accept the fact that I'm also mostly. I'm just like into anti-hero. Like I feel like I have my own, like my own way, my own moral, like way to thinking of which path should be fit into my category instead of other category. Some people may disagree, but I feel like for reasonable fact, I feel like this will be better.
Mischievous.
Yeah, I can really say.
uh, Lawful or chaotic?
Hmm. Wait, what's the first one again?
Lawful.
Like, oh, I'm sorry, didn't my mind didn't really function where what had this meaning that. Oh my, I just say chaotic. I just say second.
Okay. The chat have come up with a few here. Kodak asks, sleep or food?
Oh, sleep or food? Sleep. Shockingly sleep. I feel like I don't really feel like I'm losing like my whole entire diet. Like, my whole entire diet schedule feels like okay for the others. I feel like I don't lose into any sort of like my body need to something like need to compensate some more food to make body feel better. Just but personally, I would just say sleep. I feel like if a day would be 36 hours, just want to sleep in like 13 hours.
Right. Caravan
Like
asks,
that's how much I focus my sleep.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Hmm. You know what's funny? I actually haven't watched all the Star Wars movie to be honest. Like I only heard about like the prequel trilogy, like the sequel trilogy, but not about talking much about 789 because as you know, people are raving about this feels so bad. Like comparatively, they feel so bad compared to previous trilogies. It just so happened like that. And I just said Star Wars. I can just say Star Wars because it has some more epic, like epic and the famous phrase.
Right. Uh,
Star Trek. I know I watched some of the Star Trek as well,
yeah.
but I feel like Star Wars has some more epic and, of course, meme potential. Hmm.
um, Kodak also asks, spaces or tabs?
In terms of like keyboard,
Yeah, I guess so.
so let's say space. Uh, Obviously, I just use space because it's right in front of me like that. I feel like right in front of me. Like this is this funny joke about what's under the sea. Like people keep telling, okay, what do you define something that's under the sea? And just say space. They just say space. I don't get it. Sea. Let's see. This bottom sea. So what thing would be under the sea? It's like, oh, oh my God, that like I was like an idiot at that.
What's under the sea,
Like people,
Kodak? The sea.
what do you call something that's under the sea? Like people telling me that's some sort of quite a bad joke to be honest. This is so. Oh gosh, I've never experienced the same like the same type of comedies as the previous generation. Oh my gosh. Mm.
Have you done any collaborations? Any collaborative setting?
Setting. Specifically, I did with you only. Like the very first one I did was actually Codec.
Yeah.
I did with Codec. It's not technically a collab, to be honest. It's more like an alternative version because I support Codec into adding some of the more clues and actually turned out to be a funny ones. and they
Hmm.
actually came up with better structures. It's not really about. It's not technically, I would say collab. It's more so more like what will happen. I took another route.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then second collab, I think I did you. I don't remember exactly what happened after the first. I
Yeah,
remember
we did
specifically the
something
first.
together.
Yeah, a lockout was. Yeah, that, the whole lockout was. I don't. I think I would touch that variant again, like the 5, 10, 11 something. I would definitely touch that one again. And maybe the other. I don't really. It's really remember which one. After my our collab, I don't really recall any more collabs. Just specific to about it.
I can't even find our collab.
Yeah, I didn't really directly want to do a collab, to be honest, because I'm so familiar with doing things alone. Like
Yeah.
sit in the corner, writing something for the other book, but making something weird on a writing board, just like, okay, that's a fun idea. Let's try to make this in 2 or 3 days, and here we go. We finished this in 10 hours.
Right.
Yeah, it's just fun. That's so, yeah, this one. Yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
remember this. Most of the time, I feel like, oh my god, why should I add that page? Like, why should I even add that page? Why should I even add more given? I want to add more given, but again, there's no. I want to keep it ambiguous to the very end because it reveals like that throughout the show. It turns out that actually the song is much more like ambiguity. There's lots of ambiguity all over, but they form basically from specific pattern, and you surely have those aha moments. Give you the shocking way because of how that cage added. Even
Hmm.
that clue, column 7. I remember the clue that column 7
Right.
to be so special. You know, so unexpected at certain point. Yeah, no good memories. I
Yeah.
keep remembering myself like, wow, I actually did a actual successful collaboration. I just still have it. Oh yeah, who could ever forget about the Epic 80 Setters collab, to be honest? Is that even called collab? The caterpillar.
Oh,
You could
the
definitely,
Katadoku.
yeah,
Yeah.
caterpillar. Yeah, yeah, that's also that one. I don't really know if I should call that collab.
I don't know if it's a
But what
collab
do
either.
you
It
yeah,
is, I guess
yeah,
it's
that's
a
a lot. Like,
collaboration between people, but
like, like whenever we talk about collaboration, I just think a certain range like a certain range of people, like maybe 20 as max, but 80 people at the same time. I'm just like, wow, that's so intense.
yeah.
It's so intense of a collab. Like, it actually follow like that's a whole emotional roller coaster. I finished it in 2 nights, actually, full 2 nights. I just spent totally like over 2 nights just finish it like that. I run into a marathon and I commit myself into thinking that, oh boy, that should go smooth. That actually goes smooth most of the time. If you didn't notice that one spot at the end, we can just talk about that point at the end. But
Yeah.
okay, I feel that I'm totally mesmerized. That's totally mesmerized. What a way to do a collab. What a spectacular way to do a collab.
I guess we have a question unanswered. We have a couple questions unanswered from people, but we have a question from Tallcat, which might be a good way to sum up our 2 hours. What would you say are the defining characteristics of a playmaker puzzle?
Oh, okay. Characteristic. I would say fun. Yes, definitely say fun to that. Yes, I don't really feel like this. Like, did you try to think that most of my puzzles I feel rewarding. Like, they're
Hmm.
challenging, of course, but in a way they feel like they're very rewarding. And they will
Yeah.
give you some of the juiciest things.
Juiciest.
That happened yeah, that's the thing. That's the juiciest thing I've ever seen in a person. It just
Yeah.
happened like that. Like I'm usually tending to doing things like that. Into a hot like high risk, high reward, and other stuff like that. I love doing things where you have to put you have to actually put effort into it
Hmm.
and doing something like in such a way that it doesn't feel completely trivial. You actually rewarded with even more stuff,
Right.
and you use that even more stuff to actually go into the next. Yeah, it's just basically that. I feel definitely that there's a specific point. I feel like most of my puzzles are challenging. Like Zeta was telling me that at one point that my puzzle is challenging, but in a very specific way. I actually fully agree with that. My puzzle are definitely challenging in a specific way. And yeah, let's talk about that. Why is that specific? We already talked about it because it give you a certain rewards after certain step. It just happen like that. And I also feel like that my puzzles kind of have some of the elements of evolution. Like if you most of like if you go from my oldest to the latest, you definitely feel like some more evolution. The more I do, add more things into that, like from certain arrow to arrow which combine more stuff to most of the stuff to much more stuff, and then actually lean into non-arrow, and then lean into certain uncomfortable, like certain grip zone that really let me find uncomfortable. Yeah, and it just feels like that the more I talk about my evolution, the evolution of my puzzles, the more the more proud I feel of myself. I didn't feel like I have gone into a long way setting things.
Hmm.
And I definitely feel like I have given the people some like, that's enough people. Like, it's just so many emotions like happy, sad, this stuff. That's not enough. There's lots of things. I feel like it's like writing a movie. That is definitely feel like a whole movie into a whole franchise. If I could
Right.
say that correctly, like a whole franchise to my setting, like basically. And I feel like the more you try to invest, the more the more creative on most of my puzzle. I never feel like that. I never feel like just have that my puzzle has somewhat a cool way into the nicest way into approaching certain creative idea. I do not feel like there's also a creative idea from own idea. Let's try to explore them like that. Yeah, I feel like most of my puzzle tend to do things like which makes it more unique and more sort of my stick to
Hmm.
my guts into my favorite. Still keeping my passion to certain things,
Right.
but still explore to the limit of even the best things as possible.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Playmaker. This was a great 2 hours of great Sudoku and puzzle discussion.
Yeah,
Hope
yeah. This is
everyone's
my first.
yeah. He's
Yeah, this is actually
face
my
reveal.
first time I'm talking about. But not really my first face review to be honest.
Right.
I do some occasional face review on Discord. It's like one or two times. But this is definitely my first time talking this publicly about some of the
Hmm.
things that I feel like I'm passionate about that, and I feel more about love and stuff, and more appreciate more stuff as things go.
Well, it was great to hear your passion. It definitely came through. Um,
Yeah,
Welcome to everyone from the Zeta stream. You're just in time for the end. Sorry, but
you
feel free
just oh
to
my
like the stream and subscribe for more content. Maybe watch this back if you're interested in what Playmakers talk about here.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, we're gonna wrap up here. Playmaker, feel free to announce the very surprising next guest that we'll have on stream here.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I feel like well, I do some sort of unboxing things. It's like what will be the next? Will definitely be the next step. This would be and throw out the drums and things, other things like that. And the next person
Thermal.
shall be shy. Yeah, shy.
Yes. Next
Yeah.
guest is Mirasir, along with Shy.
What a way! What a way to conclude a season. Yeah,
Yeah,
let me
Shy.
assume that.
Yeah, Shy's awesome. So
Wow.
it should be great.
Yeah, I really want to hear her music. I want to hear her discussion about her music. Oh my god.
Anyways, again, thank you so much, Playmaker, and thank you everyone who came out and watched and uh, talking in the chat and all that. Very much appreciated. And everyone
Okay.
have a good weekend.
Okay.
Bye.